My name's Dave Dubeau, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Hey folks, if you are in the single family home business or small multifamily in 2025, sometimes getting financing is challenging, especially if you're looking to do renovations or BRRRRs or, even small portfolio borrowing against your portfolio. It's kind of rocky times these days. So today we got a special guest, Sohin Shah, who is the co-founder of InstaLend.com. And these guys loan money to smaller real estate investors, folks that are in the single family home, small multifamily space. So we're going to be talking about the lending environment, what these guys are up to, and whether you work with them or not, some tips, tricks, and suggestions for having the highest likelihood of getting the money that you want at a reasonable rate. So Sohin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dave. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Sohin, give me a quick little rundown. How long have you been running InstaLend for? When did you guys
close to 10 years now. We started in 2016. We're a nationwide lender in the United States for fix and flips, DSCR rental loans, portfolio loans for single and multifamily properties. And we also do ground up construction loans.
Very good. So what got you into the business 10 years ago?
Tried flipping a property myself, and that's when I realized that I had a lot of money tied up into the property. Started looking for private lenders. It was very hard for me to get access to the kind of capital I was seeking, and that inspired me to maybe create a solution, given my background in financial engineering and the fact that I worked as an investment banker before. So it just inspired me.
So you work financial engineering, investment banker, and a flipper. Yeah, that's a pretty good combination to bring to the table to create a lending platform for real estate investors. Okay, very cool. Well, thanks for sharing the background there, Sohin. So, just maybe explain the back end workings of InstaLend for me. Did you basically raise a bunch of capital to deploy with this? Are you partnered up with institutional lenders? How are you able to offer the services nationwide?
Yeah, so we have capital partners on Wall Street that we work with. We've also had our own fund, and now we're at a point where it is scaled massively, and it's allowed us to create new loan product types as well. We started off small by focusing on just the Northeast of the United States, and slowly we've expanded to almost nationwide. There's 4 states we don't lend in.
Which are the 4 unlucky states that don't get the money?
North Dakota, South Dakota, Utah, and I forget which the 4th. I think it's Minnesota.
Okay. Yeah. Well, all right. So 4 out of 50, 46 out of 50 ain't bad. That's good. So what's kind of different, or, I mean, obviously you're biased, it's your company, but what sets you guys apart from other lenders? Because there's lots of lenders in the space.
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of good lenders in the space. What we try to do is have a more collaborative and consultative approach with our clients. And we're also very accessible. We close quick as well. So when we have a client working with us, we're not just looking to approve or reject the loan. We're probably getting back to them with guidance on, hey, if you tweak a few line items in your rehab budget, you're probably going to come out with a higher after renovation value. And here's how you can lower your interest rate as well, etc. So we do share some best practices with them. We try to close a loan within 10 to 14 business days. So we're very fast as well. And typically the clients are speaking to me or my business partner. So they have direct access to decision makers. You don't have to try and wait for a loan officer to try and get approvals from higher authority.
So you don't have to go through a committee to try and get approval.
Yeah, so we don't waste their time. If you can do something, we'll tell them yes. We'll let them know exactly what their loan terms look like. And if it makes sense for them, we'll close pretty quick.
Okay, very cool. So whether people work with you or not, Sohin, what are some things that you find yourself having to teach or train your borrowers about on a regular basis in order to do exactly what you're talking about, in order to set them up for a favorable loan where they're not getting bent over the table with crazy high interest rates and points and penalties and all that kind of stuff that can quite often happen in the space. What kind of suggestions or tips do you have for people in that?
It's a great question, Dave. So we see all types of individuals trying to flip properties or be landlords. What I've learned is there's different buckets of experience tiers that they fall under, and so it's the experienced folks, the guys who've done this over and over, that can go after gut rehabs. But if it's someone who's just a beginner, I see them make this mistake sometimes of trying to go after a very intensive rehab job, which I would definitely recommend against.
Mm.
They also get seduced by states where the property values are lower, and so they may have no knowledge or insights into the workings of that neighborhood. But they might find a property in Ohio or Detroit, or let's say somewhere in Chicago for less than $100,000, and that's tempting to make an offer, acquire it, and then go ahead with the journey. But if you aren't within physical proximity of the property, and you're doing this for the first time, or maybe just the first few times, there's a very high likelihood you're going to face a lot of brain damage. And so trying to be in close vicinity of the property where you can drive to the property should there be any challenges. I cannot stress enough on how important that is. That's a mistake I made myself as well.
Mm.
And lastly, I think working with general contractors, I think that's something most people discount in terms of how valuable that could be. Trying to find people on the internet or just through referrals to get the job done might be a band-aid solution, but working with a licensed general contractor who knows when to pull permits, what the right compliance measures are to make sure you can get peace of mind once the construction work starts and is completed, is something I would highly recommend as well.
Okay, very good. And let's say we're talking to somebody that's more in the buy and hold kind of space. They're not necessarily doing big renovations. What are some tips that you have for those folks in order to have the highest likelihood for success of getting a decent loan?
I think, for buy and hold, credit score comes into play.
Their
So
personal
making
credit score.
Correct. So
Yeah.
if it's someone from the United States, having a credit score which is at least 680 or higher is helpful.
Mm.
If they're a foreign national, that's fine as well. We lend to folks that live in Canada, nationwide, worldwide, right? I recently closed a loan for someone who lives in Australia. And in that case, I think what we underwrite and focus a lot on is the debt service coverage ratio, which basically is a metric that signifies how much profit the landlord is making after paying their monthly obligations of the taxes, insurance, mortgage payments, etc. So making sure that your property has a higher profitability ratio for you to further increase the debt service coverage ratio is helpful. Keeping good credit score if you're based in the United States is helpful. If you're a foreign national, I would recommend creating an LLC or a corporation in the United States to buy the property, so you can qualify for a loan from lenders like ourselves and some other ones.
So for a foreign national investing in the States, is it, yeah, starting an LLC makes a lot of sense. I know some people, especially in the lower price states, go in all cash, buy the property, and then refinance it afterwards to pull out a good chunk of their initial capital. Do you see that a lot as well, Sohin?
We do, yes, and I think a lot of these folks are probably taking the harder route than they need to. You don't need to do it all cash. Lenders do front money on the purchase and the construction work as well for foreign nationals. We do that. So it just probably makes more sense to use leverage and put maybe 10-20% down as opposed to 100% down, and maybe do 3 or 5 properties at a time instead of one property. Right.
Yeah,
That
that makes
way you're
sense.
increasing the ROI on your time as well. And you can rotate your construction crew between multiple properties as opposed to just one.
So these days, Sohan, you've been in the business for almost 10 years now. What are some of the big shifts that you've seen over that time in who you are lending money to and what the loans are for? Are you noticing any shifts?
What we're learning is the best borrowers, the best operators are the ones who are flexible on their exit strategy.
Mm.
So anyone who's buying a property to fix it up and sell it, but that being the only exit strategy, can often find themselves in muddy waters, because market cycles can be evolving. Interest rates can fluctuate.
Mhm.
So you may not have the best timing in terms of trying to sell the property, and then you're at the mercy of market conditions, interest rates for the buyer, etc., to get liquidity and pay back your lender or get liquidity for yourself.
What are you
Um,
seeing for some alternative exit strategies people are using these days?
Always keep an open mind to being a landlord. So,
Mm.
fix it up and then refinance, pull some money out in terms of equity if you have to. But just ride out uh, any short-term uncertainty if it should prevail. Outside of that, I think being patient in terms of making your money is a very good strategy, right? So anyone who's looking to fix something up or just be a landlord and make a certain multiple of gain in maybe a 1 or 2 year tenure may not find this to be the best strategy, because you might do that once or twice, but when you're looking to scale your operations with 20, 30, 40, 50 deals, there's going to be a lot of transactions you work on where you might have to be a lot more patient and play the long game. So just having that mindset upfront is very helpful, because that plays into how you look at your cash flow when you expect your money back, and how you take certain decisions in terms of new acquisitions, and even just structuring your personal life around that. So being very flexible on the exit strategy and being patient on the repayment is very important for
Yeah.
landlords.
Okay. No, very good points. And so, Hen, I was going to ask you, you have a wide variety of different financial products, loans, basically that you offer people. There's usually like an 80-20 Pareto principle with things. Where do you guys find the majority of your loans going towards? Are they flippers? Are they ground up development deals? Are they long-term buy and hold type people? Where's the bulk of your money being lent out on?
I think the fix and flip slash construction loans are about 60% of our business.
Mm, yeah.
And I think the DSCR rental loans, also known as landlord loans, are about 40%. So majority
So
of that,
explain that one for us for people that aren't familiar with it, please. The
right?
DSCR loans.
DSCR is what I touched on just a few minutes ago. It's basically you acquire a property or you own a property where you're the landlord, but you don't live in it.
Hmm.
You have a tenant living in it. They're paying you, let's say, $1,000 a month, for example, right?
Right.
From that $1,000, you're paying your monthly obligations. If you have a loan on the property, you pay the loan principal and interest from the $1,000. You pay your prorated portion of annual taxes from the $1,000 and prorated portion of insurance for the property from the $1,000 as well. And then anything that's left over is net income to you for that month.
That's your cash flow. Got
Yeah,
it. All right.
yeah,
And that's how you're calculating how much you're willing to lend on that
right.
property. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Very good. And what are some of the challenges you guys are facing these days as a lending company with everything that's going on in the markets, in the economy, politically? There's a lot of upheaval as we're in the middle of 2025 right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it challenges, but I think some of the folks that I've been talking to, they prefer to play the waiting game. So they're
Mm,
waiting on the sidelines. And I think, you can never time the market cycle. So if you underwrite your numbers, if they make sense, you're never going to get the best interest rate, right? So if the deal makes sense, go ahead, because, everyone was expecting rates to come down a while ago. That's not happened. And those
mhm.
people have just been sitting on the sidelines, where they could have probably completed a few transactions by now.
Right. Okay. Well said. Hey, so and I'm sure there's going to be some folks watching and listening to this who'd like to find out more about your lending services, whether they're in those 46 states that you service, or if they're a foreign national looking to invest in the states. What's the best place for them to go and find out more about you?
Yeah, so our website has all the information. It's instalend.com, INSTALEND. And they can reach out to me by email as well. It's my first name dot last name at instalend.com.
Perfect. So, Hen, well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewsyou.com.